Hi there everybody, I'm Fred Thomas and you're watching All Things Bike. And today we have Will Elting, event coordinator for BikeMaine at the Bicycle Coalition of Maine. Will, thanks for coming down to the show.
Thanks for having me, Fred. It's good to be here.
Yeah, anytime. Well, you've got a huge job ahead of you with BikeMaine 2018. I don't think that many people realize just the amount of work that goes into putting this event together. But give us an overview of the route and the logistics.
Right, and this is a really special BikeMaine for us because it is in a place that we've never been to before, and a place that frankly not a lot of Mainers get up to on a regular basis. So we are way up in northern Aroostook County, the crown of Maine.
Great.
And as you know, BikeMaine is a 7-day fully supported bike tour.
And what does that mean? It sounds like, well, you know, people just riding around, but describe the support that goes into it.
Right. So we provide a full week for riders to show up, and they bring luggage with them on the first day. We bring the luggage from site to site every day for them. We provide 3 meals a day. We provide evening entertainment, a beer garden, points of interest along the route every day. So we try to make it a fully all-encompassing experience for them.
Yeah, that's remarkable. I mean, it's so different from anything that I can think of, right? I mean, are these types of events common?
Not so much in northern New England. We are sort of pioneers in this region. However, we are modeled indirectly off of events like Cycle Oregon, which is a similar event. Obviously on the West Coast, they've been going for quite a number of years. They're also a little larger scale, where they have a couple thousand. Well, it's a week still, but they have a couple thousand riders, where we're much more intimate number with only 450.
But that's manageable. And well, so you had to describe the rider base. I mean, where are the riders coming from, and are they repeat customers? Tell us a little bit about that.
So we have a really great group of riders who, many of whom come back year after year and build these relationships. Our average age on this year's ride is about 61. It sort of fluctuates year to year. This year, in terms of location, we have more Mainers riding than we ever have in the past. This is the 6th year of BikeMaine. So we think that's due in part just because people are really excited to ride up in Aroostook County. We're starting and ending in Presque Isle and going up through Caribou, Madawaska, Fort Kent, St. Agathe. So it's really exciting for people. And then we've also got people from 35 other states, a couple foreign countries. People really come from all over for this experience.
It's just a fascinating thing. I mean, I would love to get out and do it, and I'm sure I will one day. It's hard to find the time, but the event has an interesting element to it, which is that part of it is part of the proceeds of the event go to grants. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the BikeMaine grant program is open to any community who's hosted us in the past. So every year we have 5 to 6 different host communities. And once they have become a BikeMaine host community, they can apply for a grant. So this year, 2018, we had about $16,000 to give away in grant funds. And these are for programs that towns come up with for various cycling and pedestrian infrastructure projects. So for instance, this year we awarded Skowhegan $10,000 to build off-road mountain bike trails.
Right, okay, right.
Yeah.
There was a track or a BMX track for a town or some traffic improvements?
Bath. We provided funds for Bath to build a pump track at their middle school, I believe, last year.
Yeah, well, that seems a great way to sort of mobilize the riders to get out and go for a nice ride and support a good cause. What should a successfully registered rider expect when they're on this 7-day ride?
Yeah, so in terms of a typical day, people are getting up as early as 5:30, maybe a little later, a little earlier, but generally on the road by 7:30 or 8.
Is there a start time that you have to make?
There is no official start time. Everyone has to be on the road by 9. So, we don't want to have people start all at once because we want people to spread out a little bit over the route and really take their time and enjoy. A big part of BikeMaine and really the Bicycle Coalition as a whole, our mission is to drive economic development in some of these communities, and it really helps when people take their time and stop at these little art galleries and country stores along the way.
Can you? Is there a good example of a host community that has an appealing main street or a nice vibe to it that you can think of?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's
probably all of them. But
all of them do in their own way. I think one that's jumping to mind for me this year is, really both Madawaska and Fort Kent have really great downtowns. And I mention them specifically because we're going to be there for 2 days each. We have a layover day in Madawaska, and then we're doing an out and back route to Allagash.
Right.
For 1 day, so we'll be in Fort Kent for 2 nights. And Fort Kent is a college town. They have a really kind of vibrant downtown, and I think our riders are really going to enjoy getting to know it.
That sounds great. But you were talking about the routine, and yes, there's this traveling BikeMaine village. Elaborate on what that is and what's happening there.
Yeah, so we, it's a rolling village, basically. We bring in everything from shower trucks to dining tents, porta-johns. We tend to locate these places in close proximity to a downtown in things like a public park or athletic fields, so people can really be nestled in the downtown area.
Right, and because they're also camping. I mean, everyone is camping here for the most part.
Exactly, yeah. Most people camp. We do have, most people bring their own tents and set them up every night. We have a tent and porter option, which is kind of an upgrade where we'll set up a tent for you, bring your luggage to the tent, set up chairs. We also have entertainment every night, so we've got different bands from the local community doing acts. We've got the Maine Outdoor Film Festival is going to be with us in Fort Kent for 1 night this year. We've got a beer garden every night with Maine Beer Company beer traveling with us. So
it's
always a highlight.
Exactly. I mean, it sounds like a traveling party, and then that's how not quite, but I mean, it's a traveling festival that brings everybody to all these great spots. And you mentioned the economic impact, and it is material. And are there some numbers out there that demonstrate just how much economic activity results from the ride? Yeah,
absolutely. So we make sure to track that pretty thoroughly by sending surveys to riders. So through this method, we've been able to track over the course of the 5 years that BikeMaine has occurred already, we've boosted the Maine economy to the tune of about $2.5 million.
Wow! Over the 6 years that it's been going.
Well, that's just over the 5 years. So because this will be the 6th year, so this will be adding on to that.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and can you elaborate on what that is? Is it retailing or people buying dinner at the various locations?
Yeah, so it's people, going out, getting a beer, going, to local hotels, restaurants, car rentals, you know, bus tickets to get to and from. The travel this year is going to be a little different, just because it's...
You get everybody up to Presque Isle first.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And that sort of adds to the sense of adventure of it all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a kind of detail that most people don't probably think of right away when they hear about an event. Are there any noticeable trends that you can see and how this event is evolving in its 6th year? I mean, are people? I mean, it sounds like people are coming back for starters, and they're mostly or increasingly from the state. Are there any other interesting details coming through?
Well, I personally, this is the first year I've been involved with the planning side of this. I was on for BikeMaine last year during the week as sort of a logistics coordinator, but I can say, I mean, the ride has been growing ever since its inception. We started with, I think, 200, 250 riders.
Right.
Now we're up to 450, and we're selling out 6 months in advance.
Wow.
So I think the word of mouth and the, word has gotten out in the cycling community that this is a really it's fun. Premier event.
Yeah. And will it be capped, do you reckon, at 450, or do you want to get it to be bigger, do you think? 500 is about right.
For the time being, I think we really want to maintain the intimate feel of the ride, and I think increasing it anywhere beyond 450, potentially 500 at some point down the road, but that would be interfering with that a little bit. So.
Yeah, well, that sounds reasonable. I mean, if it gets too big, it becomes a different thing altogether. What about the people who want to do it? What's the best advice you can give them in terms of preparation and just getting ready for the ride?
Yeah, so we have a training regimen that we send out to all the registered riders, and it. Go on group rides, go on your weekly bike shop group rides or whatever you normally do, try to up your mileage. This is, they're averaging about 50 miles a day for 6 days over the course of a week, so it can be pretty strenuous. Also this year, I think there's sort of a conception for people that northern Maine is just a flat plain with no hills. That is not the case.
Yeah, all right, good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I rode the route in July, and there are hills, let me tell you.
Oh, right.
So it is, and it's absolutely beautiful.
But so train on some hills,
yes,
and service your bike. Make sure the bike is working properly.
Yep.
Can people rent bikes, or can you?
People can rent bikes. Yeah. So we have a partnership with Cyclemania here in Portland that people can coordinate with them before the ride, and they'll have a bike for you at the start, and they'll take it at the end, and all you have to do is show up, and it's going to be completely tuned and ready to go.
Yeah, that's totally convenient. And elaborate on the sponsors and some of the other partners that are involved in the event.
Yeah, LL Bean has been a huge partner right since the beginning. If you see in our tent and porter village, they're all LL Bean tents. We have LL Bean mechanics with us all week. Maine Beer Company, I mentioned already. We make an effort to
I think OA Orthopedics was helping with the training, I think.
Yes, yeah, they have in the past, and actually this year we're also working with County Physical Therapy, who is a local physical therapist up in Aroostook County. They have a couple different locations. We're also working with Aroostook County businesses, MMG Insurance, and a couple of the hospitals up there. Of course, the Frame and Wheel is very generous as well.
Yeah, well, that's full disclosure. Frame and Wheel is a sponsor of the show, but that's great. I mean, it's great that you're reaching out and involving all the corners of, I guess, the Maine economy and the cycling community, and it's great. I mean, this sounds like the event is going to continue to evolve. And on that, I mean, is there a 20-year grand plan for this?
Well, we haven't quite gotten out into 20 yet.
10,
3 to 5 years we're looking right now.
What does it look like?
Well,
roughly?
we're almost to the point where we're wrapping up having ridden in every region
Yeah.
of the state.
Yeah.
So we're starting to think about how to sort of bridge those gaps and make interesting routes that go between the regions.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of exciting stuff planned out.
Like the Tour de France, you could start in Connecticut for one stage, or start somewhere else, or maybe not. Bad idea.
I don't know about Connecticut. But.
Well, New Hampshire maybe, but I mean, that's great. So, what about some of the stories? I mean, you just rode the course, and you've been associated with the event. I mean, are there stories that you can tell us that are notable?
I mean, for me, the big story of BikeMaine that sticks out is, rolling, specifically in my mind, is rolling into Pittsfield, Maine.
Yeah.
It was the second night of the ride. And just seeing, a small town that I had never really spent any time in, and all the signs, all the businesses said "Welcome BikeMaine." You saw bikes all up and down Main Street, people walking up and down, and just seeing these small towns completely open themselves and embrace not only BikeMaine, but the cycling community, sort of in general.
Yeah.
It's really something to see, and it really is powerful.
It's and refreshing too. I mean, and if you're constantly in an urban environment, you don't see that frequently. Just give us a background on the registration. I mean, we know that it's sold out for this year. Is there a waiting list?
There is a waiting list.
Right.
You can find all the information about the registration and how to contact us on our website, which is ride.bikemaine.org. We will announce the 2019 region on the last night of the ride this year, and we will open up registration right after that. So you'll be able to register for 2019 in September of this year.
Right. So that's great. So that's fantastic. So you don't have to mark your calendar in March and try to remember.
Right.
Alrighty, Will. Have I missed anything? Is there any other key detail that you would like to mention? It sounds like a great event.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll just throw out a plug. BikeMaine is an event of the Bicycle Coalition of Maine, which is. We are the statewide voice of advocacy for cycling and pedestrians. We are a membership organization, so if your viewers are interested in seeing what we're all about and becoming a member, they can go to bikemaine.org and get all that information.
Great, absolutely. Well, this event is, I think it's a great way to raise the profile of BCM and just bring more people into cycling. So thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you, Fred.
Yeah, alrighty, everybody. That was Will Elting of the BikeMaine event, the fully supported ride that's going over the northern part of the state. BikeMaine is also part of the Bicycle Coalition of Maine, and you can find out more about both organizations on the internet. That's all we've got time for right now. Thanks so much for watching.
All Things Bike with Fred Thomas is brought to you by Zentis, performance carbon wheels handmade in Austria for road and off-road riding. Zentis, next generation wheels. And Frame and Wheel eBay bike selling services. Time, space, cash. Pick 3. And AD Bikes, the modern face of Austro-Daimler cycling and the bike company of the future.